What's up, what's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, and welcome into another edition of MVP Sports Live right here on the YouTube page for MVP Sports. See, Dave, it took a little bit. It took almost a full week.
You got it.
But I got it down.
Though.
Got it down. I'm joined also by my beautiful co-host, Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
Dave, got to ask, how you doing today? How you doing on this Thursday?
I am 1 day away from being done with work for a week. It feels great.
Dave, say what you really want to say.
I am 1 day away from being off of work so I can play World of Warcraft.
You're 1 day away from a couple days away of WoW TBC.
Yes. If we're being completely honest, WoW Burning Crusade launch is on the mind, and it will be all I'm doing Tuesday through Sunday of next week.
Yeah, Dave's got to hit 70. Are you gonna hit 60 by Tuesday?
Oh yeah. I'm double XP'd all the way through, so I will get there probably tomorrow. I just haven't had a chance to grind it out, you know.
Yeah,
Been BGing, gotta collect the marks.
Yeah, I got my first honor kill yesterday.
Oh,
I killed a 31 while he was at 2 health after I saw him going to eat, and I was like, stun, kill.
Who's the boss?
Yeah.
Right here.
Fuck you night elf. That was me being a fucking tough horde. Welcome into MVP Sports, where we talk about all the sports news. That's the best way to start off a sports show, Dave. Talking about World of Warcraft. Wow. You just gotta set it right off.
There's a heavy crossover between sports fans and World of Warcraft nerds.
In general,
it's us.
Analytical.
It's actually just us.
Well, and you were talking about where you're watching a video that Retro put in the Discord of our old mock draft. Like, analytics guys are now in sports, so there is that massive crossover. Because Marvin Bagley at 7, Dave, that was a huge oh man, we don't know what we're talking about.
Look, Marvin Bagley did go 2 overall. Mm-hmm. Would you say the Kings regret taking Marvin Bagley 2 overall in the draft?
Yeah, over Luka Doncic? Yeah, I would say that.
I could name you about a dozen people. But but he was the second best player in college. So you guys who love analytics, just sniffing your own farts too much, That's apparently what we do, Ricky.
What, we sniff farts? That's what we do?
It's just, the analytics nerds out there, man. They don't know sports.
I love that draft because I actually looked at it because I saw it and I was like, I was right on a couple things. Obviously, the one that I always pat my back on is I basically called the Hawks Mavericks trade. The only thing I had added to it was Wesley Matthews going to the Hawks, Bazemore going to the Mavs because I thought it was going to be contracts. But I will say, I had Luka at 6 to the Clippers. Here's the thing: I had the Clippers I had the Mavs trading up for MPJ, and then I had the Bulls trade up for Mo Bamba.
Yeah, we hit some, we missed some.
Bulls trade up for Mo Bamba. Grizzlies took Wendell Carter with the Bulls picked up, so I had him slotted right where he went. Luka, the Clippers trading up for Luka because he fell to 6, and then Trae Young going to the Cavs.
There was a lot of things that could have worked there. Lot of bad stuff, but that was the infamous tinfoil draft.
I also had a great pick in that draft, Dave. Grayson Allen's best fit ever, the Boston Celtics. He would have fit right in Boston.
White,
would have fit right in Boston. I was like, that's what I thought today.
I did correctly pick his draft, though. I'm just going to call that.
You did.
Who gets picks in the 20s right, other than Matisse Thybulle to the Sixers? Because we all knew that was happening because they leaked that like idiots.
Or Hutch to the Bulls. Because
same thing.
The Bulls were like, we really like Hutch. And we're like, why do you like Hutch?
We love this 23-year-old who isn't thriving in college.
Yeah, who went to I shouldn't say went to Boise State because Steph Curry went to Davidson.
It doesn't matter.
But Hutch wasn't no Steph Curry.
Yeah. The draft is unpredictable. Is where we're going with all this.
Yeah. Then this year is going to be even more unpredictable because of all the talent that seems to be in it. But we got a jam-packed show, Dave. We are talking about said draft. We're going to be talking about the Hawks today. I'm also going to shoehorn in a little kind of pre-topic to it because there's some breaking news that is breaking my heart as we speak that I will...
Bracing myself?
It looks like Kofi Cockburn will not be coming back to Illinois potentially. He will be staying in the draft.
Is that a little bit of a hint right there? Somebody guaranteed something?
I think somebody guaranteed him a second round pick at least. Because
I
I don't know if anyone would guarantee a first rounder for Kofi right now.
That would be higher than a lot of people rated him, but I think the fact that he's got a handshake deal going is kind of awesome. Even if it's undrafted, he's just like, if you don't get selected in the draft, we will sign you as a UFA.
Oh, he's got to. But we will talk about that,
awesome.
Obviously. And then playoff games. We got playoff games to talk about. But before we get into everything, quick housekeeping. Number one, join the Discord. I say it each and every time. It's the greatest community in the universe. It is literally popping off probably as we speak. Like, literally, NFL, NBA, baseball, everything is going on.
Baseball is a sport, Ricky.
You had the Pirates being the Pirates today, Dave.
Perhaps the best highlight of the season.
Oh, man, are they
Is there
dumb.
a Shaqtin' a Fool for the MLB?
There
is there an equivalent?
Be, there should be, because, oh, man, that play with Javi Baez was not good. For the Pirates and their fan base. Also, if you want to support us, patreon.com/MVPvids. Both of those links, by the way, for the Discord and Patreon are down below. Thank you to our Patreon sponsor, Pat Hill. And if you love the show, go ahead and sub to the channel. Hit that little bell to get those notifications because, Dave, YouTube is weird. And they're like, hey, just because you subscribe to something, that doesn't mean you want to get notified about it. You got to hit this bell because then we'll tell you about when things go live or when people sub. Also, Soapy said something about commenting for the algorithm. So, let us know what you think because we want to hear what your thoughts are as well. But, Dave, let's start with the madness, which was yesterday. And the thing I need to bring up first is apparently the storyline of yesterday, not just with one game, not just with 2 games, not just with 3 games, Dave, is apparently fans don't know how to be fans anymore and are doing things like spilling popcorn on Russ. That started the night, Dave. It's like, oh man, Sixer fans are really getting it now. Then you had a Knick fan spit on Trae Young. Really? We're spitting on people? Like taking that aside, like outside of spitting on an athlete, like spitting on a person in general is like derogatory to no matter who it is. And then we had, it's Utah, subtle racism in Utah with a Utah fan to Ja Morant's mom because, where else but Utah? I mean, I will say this, out of a playoff night that really had 2 good games and a blowout, it's a bad fucking look for the NBA. Not the NBA, the fan base of the NBA, because it gives NBA fans a bad rap.
I mean, look, I don't think any of, none of it's excusable. They're I think the funniest thing I saw came out of that was the Trae Young's balding chant. Yeah. That they had staged. They printed out pamphlets for people and put them on their chairs in New York. So that way people would all chant Trae is balding while he was at the free throw line. And the commentators silenced it, and then they just laughed. They made sure it aired and got TV time for about 5 chants.
See what that's funny because that brings me into you see that shit in college where they'll just fucking taunt you. But really the tamest of them was the one that started the night with the popcorn. Should you do
Russ
it? No.
Was about to beat the shit out of some people. He was about to
run our test, baby.
Palace in the Palace. He wanted to climb those stairs, Ricky.
I mean,
they are lucky he had 6 security guards with him.
Just think about it. You lost a game to the Sixers. You're down 0-2. Everyone's blaming you for the Wizards' problems, even though Scotty Brooks is your head coach. You're probably not in a good headspace already. And then some ass clown dumped popcorn on you that might have had extra butter.
Not like your teammates doing you any favors with Davis Bertans shooting a fucking 0-0-0-0-0 game.
But it's Russ's fault, Dave. Bradley Beal needs to get out of town because it's Russ's fault, and Beal can't win with Russ, Dave. We'll start with that one. Wizards lose to the Sixers 120-95.
It was a game that happened. I would honestly say I was impressed by Matisse Thybulle.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever seen a better showcase for the Wizards aren't a clean team, okay? They have turnover issues. They do play a specific style of basketball that leads to transition basketball. But Matisse Thybulle was just showcased I think he had 4 steals, 5 blocks, or maybe swap that around one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Just go gadget arms. He was everywhere. He was exactly who he was at Washington. He's exactly who we said he would be in the
Who
NBA.
we saw
And
in
I
the summer league.
just absolutely magic. And I think that was fun to watch happen because yeah, I mean the game had a storyline, but basically it was over by the end of the first quarter, and
Yeah.
it was very clear to everybody watching that yeah, this Wizards team didn't have a shot in the series, but like Scotty Brooks is just doing no favors. No favors.
Here's the question I have with the series. Do the Wizards pick one up in Washington? Do they get
No.
is this going to be a sweep or a gentleman's sweep?
Well, you know what? Russ getting the popcorn dump might mean we could see a game of Westbrook out there. We could
Game
see
3 pop off.
we could see Russell Westbrook happen, and I think that's the only opportunity because like without him dominating the game, and I mean dominating, I'm talking Russ is shooting the ball 20 times, and they're all twos. He takes 2 threes the entire time. 18 of those are 2-pointers. Gonna live at the foul line. He's got to get the refs calls. But there's very little chance. I think it's just they're outmatched and they're heavily outcoached and they're out rostered. Like there's no fucking hope for this team.
Especially if you're getting a game where I know the Sixers only scored 120 because they have the potential to score more. When you're getting 22 and 22 from Ben and Joe, and then you get another almost 20, why couldn't it have been 22? That's all I needed, Toby, is 22. I needed one more 3.
Can't do it, won't do it.
One shot couldn't do it for me. Trey and Jillen did what I needed them to do. But I mean, when you're getting at least 20 points from those 3 guys, like game over.
Yeah.
Game over.
Everybody was hitting B-ball. Paul even got some minutes out there.
B-ball Paul.
This isn't a series. This is just wasting time. That's all this is as long as the Sixers come out of this without an injury, successful run.
I mean, what most of the East has been, right? Like we're gonna decide today if Bucks Heat is wasting time.
Well, that is very true. And hang on, let's be honest. By the time our show finishes, we will know.
Yeah.
Tip off is in in 2 minutes. So
yeah, so like we'll know if it's wasting time or not. Let's give real time then to the other 2 games that actually effing mattered last night. And Derrick Rose, I love thee. Like this is see what I said, Dave, in game 1? Game on the line. Why are you looking for Julius Randle? You have Derrick Rose on the court, Tom. Did you forget what he did for you in Chicago? And Derrick Rose proved me right. Goes upstairs. Like, I know they used to, like, Mark Jackson uses this for LeBron, but it's like, mama, there goes that man. But Derrick Rose turning back the clock. By the way, Bulls Talk on Twitter this morning giving me a little bit of PTSD because they did the Twitter thing where they do the 2 pictures. And they had Derrick Rose, and they're like, 2011 playoffs. And then the picture on the right was these playoffs. And then the handshake emoji. It's like, did you have to mention the playoffs where he got injured? Did
and
you
if they win,
Dave, I know he plays in Philly.
Series.
He plays in Philly. Tom Thibodeau's the head coach. Taj is on that team. Who boy, I am going to be weary for those knees when that happens. But like this is going to be, and it is proving to be, why it will be the best series of the Eastern Conference first round.
Called it. I will continue to call it. This was a really weird game to me, notably because I wanted to see the starters play better. Obviously, Alfred Payton getting the start is got to be the dumbest move we've seen, just out of spite from Tom Thibodeau to fuck with people. I think at this point, he knows he's trash.
Yeah.
We all know he is trash. Why Alfred Payton gets the start, I don't know. It's just we don't have a real answer. But he will continue to get that little push out the gate, and we will watch him struggle every single day doing it. So that's frustrating to me. Outside of that, the ball movement, Randall's mixed success, I think is the nicest way you can put it. From the Hawks side, though, are you surprised by what's going on over there?
What do
Gallo, uber cold. Collins, non-existent.
I mean, not really, because like, the thing is, from like game 1 to game 2, I knew after Trae Young hit that buzzer beater, I was like, Knicks are going to win game 2. Like, this is the type of series that coming into it, I thought the Knicks would dominate. And I'm going to be happy if the Knicks just sweep the Hawks the rest of the way, because I got money on Knicks in 5 because I was that confident in it. But the actual smart fan in me is thinking this is going to go 7. This is a team that I feel like we might be trading for a little bit. And it's just going to be, like I said, with one of the other series. I can't remember. I think it was the Portland Nuggets series of, because the Hawks won game 1, are we just going to trade off games? Hawks win the series in 7, or will the Knicks finally... The Knicks have to win 2 in a row now. They have to. I have a feeling game 3, my favorite going in would be the Hawks. You know, momentum, like, not momentum, but like you're coming off a loss, you're heated, you're playing at home for the first time in the series. I think this is going to be a series where the momentum kind of sways back and forth, where it's like one game it's going to be with the Knicks, one game it's going to be with the Hawks. The most important thing I am thinking from my Hawks, like the Knicks, I feel like they have to win. They are a team that has Tom Thibodeau at the helm. Derrick Rose is playing well. You have Julius Randle. They're expected to win. The Hawks, for me, I think the best outcome for them is if you go through a long series, let's say losing 6, losing 7, the best thing is you are getting solid playoff experience for your young players right now, because you're not expected to win anything this year.
That's true. But I think the Knicks are in a similar situation, but I think the biggest thing is, like, Collins got in his foul trouble early, and he just didn't seem with it for the rest of the game.
Good point.
Is this the last time we see John? Like, if they lose in the first round, is John Collins done in Atlanta? Is this the sign-in trade that we all have been talking about for 2 years coming? You know, or is this, like, look, if he goes out demotivated and not busting his ass out there, like, it does send a message. He did not have a post-game media interview like he normally does. So clearly it's affecting him. Like, his performance affects his, personality. Doesn't want to go out there and put himself in front of the media. So I don't know. This could be a bad look for him.
I mean, to me, I see it and I go, we've heard all through the season where he was like, I want to stay in Atlanta. I want to stay in Atlanta, and kind of downplay. Could just be downplaying it to downplay it. And on the devil's advocate side, this could have just been we don't know if it's him. Like, what is he aggravated at? He could have been aggravated at himself. I didn't play this game. I've gotten into foul trouble. Like, I have to be better. And, like, it could be that. I would say I would put more fire in the Kawhi Leonard leaving talk than I would the John Collins leaving talk at this point.
Getting a little ahead of myself.
Mainly because, like, the Hawks, like, let's see how game 3 goes too. Like, let's be honest, I didn't expect the Hawks to win game 1.
Yeah.
I expected this to be the Knicks take both at home. Let's see what the Hawks do in Atlanta. And Trae Young stole one from the Knicks, to where now, like, I feel like every single game you are going to get this, and you're going to have that adversity of, like, John Collins gets in foul trouble. Game 1, the adversity for the Knicks was your best player star-wise, the spin cycle Julius Randle, was playing like shit. How do you overcome that? Like, that is what this series is going to come down to. I don't think either team is going to be on every single game. What's the adversity of that specific game, and how do you overcome it if you're the Hawks or the Knicks? Some people may look at that and go, well, Ricky, that's every game, but neither of these teams have, like, the Hawks have Trae Young, and he's been good, but Trae Young can't do it alone.
Bogdanovich.
The Knicks are also young. Like, they're being led by Derrick Rose, who's an older player right now.
Their best player in the series is Derrick Rose, followed by Taj Gibson.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Or I should
the Knicks
say,
are not young.
I should
the
say
Knicks' best players
inexperienced.
are fucking geriatric.
Yeah, I should say inexperienced, because, like, Julius Randle, where's his playoff experience? RJ is young. Quickly is young. Peyton, where's the playoff experience?
Peyton is a trash bag who shouldn't get minutes.
Frank also, where's the playoff experience? So, like, maybe experience is the way to use it for the Knicks.
Fair point. Either way, great series.
Yeah.
I'm loving the series. I can't wait for the next game. Honestly, this is paying out to be a fantastic series, and I think this is something we can see for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Like that's the nice thing is this is like a, when you started to see like teams match up for the first time, like the first time we saw Raptors Cavs.
Yep.
In like 2013, it was like, damn, this is good, and then it was again, and then it was again.
But
it was
then
like,
it
oh
became
man, this is.
LeBronto.
That was the Boston Washington, the John Wall, Bradley Beal blackout game to go to Boston. Yep. I mean, like I love that little fucking in-conference rivalry going. I think that this could be a series that we see for years to come.
Dave, the last one, and one thing I do want to point out is Seb in YouTube chat. Thank you for interacting. First says haircut. I think he's referring to you because you have the hair pulled back. It's not a haircut.
It is in a bun.
Okay.
I have not gotten the haircut yet. It will not happen anytime soon.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, he hasn't gotten a haircut. Bucks and Nets we kind of talked about yesterday. I'm gonna leave that discussion for later because we got to see what happens with the Bucks and the Heat. Even though the Bucks are on fire, and he says seeing the MSG rocking like that last night gave him goosebumps. Playoffs are nothing without the fans, and that's what I'm happy because in Utah there were fans, Dave. We already talked about the bad part of it. You don't have to hit that again. The main thing from this game is Ja motherfucking Morant, Dave. First off, before I give my thing, do a little victory lap. Dave, do the victory lap year 2. Come on, do that victory lap.
Morant has scored the second most points after 2 games, 2 appearances in the playoffs.
Yeah.
2 games in, he's got 73 points. He beats out Luka Doncic for number 2, who had 70. He was only 2 points behind the all-time NBA leader after 2 playoff games for points scored. I mean, he's incredible, and he can't shoot threes consistently yet. Are you afraid yet? Like you should be. This is generational talent, and people are just sleeping on him.
15 of 20 from the line, Dave. 15 of 20 in game 2. And I remember we're watching the game and Jake goes in the first half, second quarter, he goes, "Oh, this game's over." He goes, "The Grizzlies just can't." He's like, "The Grizzlies are good." He's like, "They can't keep up with the Jazz offense. They just can't keep up with the scoring." And there's a part of me that goes, "Yeah, maybe Donovan Mitchell's just enough."
I mean, Don Mitch should have 12 of their first 18. He wanted to make a statement coming out of the gates.
I mean, and the Jazz shot just a wee bit better from 3.
A little bit better
from 3 that they did in game 1. But, man, watching that third quarter and
Joe Ingles, I think, got a true
Grizzlies
shooting percentage of 114 by the end of the game.
Yeah. The Grizzlies just surged back. But yet again, it was one of those, they surged back, brought it within like 5 or 4.
Very close.
And then the Jazz were like, "Oh, wait, we're the Jazz offense and we're going to score again." And then it ballooned up to 20-something. It's like, well, this is over.
It was a good game. I enjoyed myself thoroughly. I mean, watching Ja Morant do what Ja Morant does is probably one of the most exciting things in basketball right now. RJ Barrett, who? Just toss on out there. ESPN suck on that. I really do think that myself, undersold Donovan Mitchell.
And
I did it for fun. I don't regret it. Joe Ingles coming off the bench though just breaks the game. I'm sorry, he should have been 6th man of the year. He gave it to Clarkson out of niceties because he's an Australian. But he is by far the best player off the bench in the NBA. And now that he's back there running that bench unit, they're better. They're so much better for it.
Yeah. I mean, do the Grizzlies take another game? I'm not going to say win the series. Do they take another game this series? Or is this going to be a gentleman's sweep kind of a thing now that Donovan's back? Because there's a part of me that goes, maybe game 3, Memphis is rocking. The Grizzlies get a win. But then there's a part of me that goes, the Jazz are like, if the Jazz play like they did in game 2, they should win this series. The thing I question, I think most of us did, is look at the microcosm of the third quarter. Against the Grizzlies, you were able to weather the storm. Against a team like Dallas, against a team like LA, against a team like the Lakers, the Suns, the Blazers, the Nuggets, any other team that they could play in the future, are they going to be able to weather that storm? Because Ja is good. Ja is playing great right now, but there are different players on different teams that are at different levels than Ja is right now.
I don't
And
know if
have
there's
better
anybody.
teams overall.
I don't know if anybody's playing at a better rate than John Morant right now in the
Good
playoffs. I'll be
point.
honest
Good
with you.
point.
Like it's Luka Doncic, John Morant, everybody else. Everybody else. I do mean that. I think that I think the Jazz shutting down the perimeter shooting of Grayson Allen was a massive step for them. He had his worst playoff game ever. And I think that did change the balance of this game. When you have guys who are shooting about 40% normally from three, he goes 0-6 from the field. Melton had a poor shooting game as well. Like, it is what it is. Yeah. Ja's never going to shoot 50%, from three, game in, game out. That's not who he is. But when you have your sharpshooters on the outside with Allen, Bain, and Melton, and you're only getting 2 of 8, that's not good enough. Like, you need to get quality buckets from those guys, and they're getting decent looks, I think.
Yeah.
But honestly, for me, it's I don't want to harp on the man too much because he's come back from an injury. But Jaren Jackson Jr., I need you to be Jaren Jackson Jr. I don't need you to be who you're showing up as right now. I don't want to say stronger words.
Is it an injury thing, like confidence because of coming off the injury?
I would believe that, yes. I think that he's, he is playing a very limited version of himself. We're not watching him take as many risks. Obviously, the foul trouble has always been his, that's his niche. Yeah. He will foul you. But we're not seeing the same level of aggression on the offensive side. And I think that's something that, hey, Dylan Brooks is having a fantastic series. We don't want to take away touches from that. I understand. But Jaren, you got to be shooting double digits a game. But this is not a situation where you're like, oh, I'm only going to take good looks from me. We'll keep the ball movement going. No. You have to step up. You were supposed to be the number 2. It's you and Ja together for the future. And if you don't step up and make these shots, this team's not going to get much further.
Yeah, and right now correct me if I'm wrong, it's more like Ja and Jillen are the one.
John JV.
John JV.
Like
keep forgetting about JV.
That threesome right there is real good. I mean, the funny thing about this team is like Kyle Anderson's having himself a fucking series.
If I hear the announcers bring up, like, I get his nickname is Slow-Mo. They really love to lean into it, though. Man, he is slow-mo, baby. Like, call him slow motion. It's like,
it's obnoxious.
We get it, Reggie.
It's obnoxious, but he's very good. It'll be very interesting to see. Like, this is a group. I should say this is a team with a lot of like interesting role players. If they can keep them together for the future, this would be really good for them.
Yeah, I mean, even Jake was saying last night, he goes, this Memphis team. He's like, could you imagine if they had just that one more piece, that one, like,
could you imagine if Justice
player.
Winslow could play basketball like he did to start the year 2 years ago for like Miami instead of being what he is now? Like what I'd hoped he would be very, very big difference.
Brandon Clark what I thought he was when I redrafted him in the top 5, Dave.
Brandon Clark isn't even playing. Like, I don't know. I mean, there's some things where I'm like, I sort of get why.
Yeah.
But at the same time, could he bring something different to the table? I would like to have another big on this roster as long as Jaren Jackson Jr. is not dominating minutes. Like, go ahead and give me 5 to 7 minutes of him instead of one of these smaller wings. Give them smaller guards. Give them another wing out there who can fucking go grab boards and compete.
Because, like, that's also the other thing with, like, the Grizzlies that I think they can kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, kind of take advantage of is because you're trying to win the series. That's always the thing. But because you're at the disadvantage, maybe there's a point in the series where it's like, okay, this is out of reach.
Minutes for the kids.
I'm going to get guys minutes so they get experience those playoff minutes. Because to me, that's what teams like the Hawks and Knicks, the Grizzlies, like, get those playoff experiences now so that it makes the players hungry to get back for it. And when you do get back, they know what the fuck to do. It's not like, the last time they were in the playoffs, he did not play a single playoff minute. Let's see how he does, Dan.
Yeah. It's the expectations of the year, Memphis was just hey, we made it to the bubble last year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go ahead and give our guys a run this year in the playoffs. I want to make sure they get mids. That's a success.
Yeah.
They took a game off the best team in the West when no one thought it was possible. Don't care that Donovan Mitchell wasn't even there. Doesn't even matter.
Yeah. Before we move on into the Hawks discussion, Dave, the one thing I did want to talk about, we mentioned it at the top. Let's get into a little bit of a discussion about it now, because if it's true, like I'm looking at the Champagne Room SB Nation site. There's all the Illini beat writers are going crazy with it.
Yep.
According to multiple reports, Kofi Cockburn will not be returning to Illinois. He'll be staying in the NBA draft. You kind of mentioned it at the top of the show. Is this an undrafted promise, or is this a second round promise? To me, this is a second round promise, and not just one. He could have multiple second round promises of like, yeah, if you're there in the second, we're taking you.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at him physically,
just look at his body.
I don't know that there's a lot of guys you can compare him to in this draft class. I think that, some people like Charles Bass, cement feet. I don't. I like my centers a little bit more mobile. I think Kofi has better intangibles. I think he has a bit better of a game. And he's, I think they're the same age. So, give me the option. I'll take Kofi. Plus, better program. Let's be honest. You guys play with Curbelo. Sorry, Ricky. Illinois will not be a dynasty off Kofi and Curbelo next year. That would have been something to see, though.
Hey, Poppy Curbelo going to bring us back, though. I will ride Poppy Curbelo.
Entertaining kid. Worth a follow. But, yeah, I think that, he's probably got a mid-second guarantee. That's likely at this point. I can't see a reason. Like, even if I was going to get, because I guarantee you he has European League offers, I wouldn't leave college for that.
Yeah,
I would enjoy being big man on campus at Illinois, competing for another national championship run, because you would with Curbelo and him, and if they get a couple of these recruits, they're probably a top 20 program again.
Yeah, no, like I think he's gotten a promise from a draft team. It's just which team in that second round. I would be shocked if it was a late first round. I would be shocked. The amount of
picks that were swapped, I think 23 picks in the second round have been traded already for. So like it doesn't even matter what teams are there.
Yeah.
It's just what team would want to have someone like Kofi Cockburn.
I mean, who?
I kind of want the Miami Heat.
I mean, I just think of any team that needs a big, and if you're fine with drafting a second rounder or even buying second round picks, cash consideration style.
Absolutely.
Like you said it. The thing about Kofi I love the most is he's got the intangibles like rebounding and defense, but you look at that body and it's like, it's the Enzo Amore. You can't teach that. Like
those are the intangibles. The tangibles are the rebounding.
Dave's like, you're mixing them up
intangibles.
Here. Like really the only thing is like a shot. That's really the only thing you're gonna have to like. Obviously, his defense is not perfect, but like he's already got the body. He's got the fundamentals of defense and rebounding. You just gotta like he is the center that I'd be like, let me mold you into what I want to be. And I know some people say, well, you need to stretch big now. You need to stretch big. He could be a guy that plays the same vein as like you look at guys like Rudy Gobert, Clint Capella. I'm trying to think of like maybe even Jonas, but does Jonas have an outside game? I'm trying to think.
He's working on it.
I'm thinking of these
he bangs. He bangs pretty well.
These kind of bigger guys that are like, my main goal is to be a rim protector inside and soak up the boards like a black hole.
Beef stew. He's bigger than beef stew.
Anthony said, does he work next to Domantas Sabonis? Could he be the Miles Turner replacement? It'd be interesting.
Probably not. I would not do that.
Sabonis not enough in an outside game to match up with Kobe?
I would not pull the trigger on that one, Ricky. No. Let's say no.
Yeah. But the team we are looking at today, the Atlanta Hawks, we talked about their playoff. Let's take a look at their draft. This is a team, we don't have to do the whole spiel, Dave, of what if they end up here, because they're a playoff team. They are locked right now at the 20th pick. So I will ask you this question to start. I know we talk about BPA a lot when it comes to the NBA draft. But if you are the Atlanta Hawks, what type of player are you hoping is available at 20, or what type of player are you targeting at 20 for the Hawks?
All right, so Atlanta's maybe solved the problem with a secondary ball handler with Bogdan Bogdanovic, and then Kevin Huerter in the spell of that. Chris Dunn, we didn't get a chance to see play at all really this year due to his injuries.
God, I want to see more of him next year.
He has a player up for next year for $5 million. Will he take that up? Probably.
Yeah.
So that means we've got 4 ball handlers kind of checked off on, you know? I think that's probably going to be good enough. I look and I'm like, yeah, we like the tandem at the bigs with Capella, Onyeka. You know, I think those 2 guys pretty much cover your 5 minutes. Then it comes down to, do you believe in John Collins resigning, like I brought up earlier?
That's the big
because
question.
Gallo's under contract for a couple of years. You got Hunter, Reddish, both under contract for a couple of years. Like, everybody else is seemingly locked up.
Yep.
I would look at that 4 or even a 3-4 tweener and ask yourself, be like, well, if we want to go with a lineup where Hunter plays the 4, Reddish at the 3, Bogdan at the 2, Trae Young at the 1, that is a deadly shooting lineup. They got shooting, they got slashing, they've got guys who can cover the perimeter and space, and I think that could be a great lineup for them. But at the same time, if you want to have 2 bigs, kind of, that's not exactly what's going to work out for you. So you could go with another 4. I'm kind of in a toss-up. This is a team that kind of has great depth in most roles, assuming injuries come through for Chris Dunn. So I guess it's the like asterisk next to Chris Dunn. If you think that even if it resigns, he's not worth anything, we need to go attack it, then backup point guard is 100% the role you take. You take someone who can score, who can defend. I agree with Tankathon in a rare case here. If Chris is on the board, take him. He shoots, he scores. He's this year's Desmond Bane, maybe.
That's who I have.
Worst handle,
my
but
mock too. I don't go with Duarte out of Oregon, because like for me, it's exactly what you talked about, where the first question the Hawks have to answer, because the NBA is asked backwards and free agency is behind the draft.
Love it.
They're thinking about changing it, and they should, because free agency, you should have your team in place when the draft comes. It should be solidify the team with vets, add on with rookies, not, hey, let me get my rookie and then see who I'm going to sign in the offseason. If they think John Collins is leaving, that's the first question, like you said. However,
if they can sign and trade John Collins.
Exactly.
Because he's an RFA.
And what are you going to get from that package, potentially?
Could this team move up with a sign and trade for John Collins?
They could, but yet again, like, the tricky thing with that is it has to be a situation where John Collins is like, yes, because otherwise it's you're basically matching him.
Come out and play.
I mean,
they would have the capital at the top of the draft. They could sign and trade Kelly Oubre and picks for John Collins. Win-win deal. John Collins scoring match with Draymond Green's defense, cancel each other out and then some. Is that a win-win?
The only thing that fucks the Warriors is if the T-Wolves win the lottery or win the lottery, meaning a top 4 pick.
I agree.
But they're in prime position.
If they get it 5, 6, in that range.
Yeah, the Warriors have options, and John Collins would be on the table. He'd be on the table. Kawhi would be on the table. If they get bounced in the first round, I'm still speaking that into existence from yesterday. Dude, if the Clippers get swept, Kawhi is gone. He's out of here.
Could you imagine the Warriors getting Clay back and adding
John Collins?
John fucking.
Then Draymond's at the 5, right?
I mean, you still got Wiseman. 5? You still got Wiseman. If he learns to play basketball.
Then who do you start, Draymond or John? John, right? Or Draymond?
No,
Draymond. Yeah.
Your lineup is Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Wiggins,
That's right.
Collins, Draymond.
Would Wiggins have to be included in the deal?
No, you signed trade Kelly Oubre.
Oh, okay. I just like for me every trade that like we're talking about with the Warriors, I've seen people are like, "Oh, Wiggins has to be included because
I don't think so. I think Wiggins is really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is probably the best Wiggins we've seen so far. I'm not really concerned about moving him.
So it's
but yeah, I think that's the only one where it's like I look at the top of the draft and I go, who would give up that much leverage to go for a payday on someone they can lock up long term? It makes too much sense, Ricky.
You know what I
no
love.
One team at the top.
You know what I love too, Dave.
Yeah.
Let's say the Warrior picks at like. Let's say the Hawks do that hypothetically. John Collins trade. Let's say they get both of the Warrior picks this year.
Sure.
The thing I love about where the Warrior picks are for the Hawks, you can go ahead and get first off, the Chris Dunn question then comes in, because if you're not like, yet again, I'm moving away from the ball handler thing. Cause like you said, Bogdan and Herter kind of have that covered. So like people may say, well, you take Giddey with one of those picks, which would be a really nice pick. However, I would kind of go the other side of it. I would say, you know what? One of the picks I like is exactly who Tankathon has at 6, who will probably be a top 7 pick in the draft, of Scotty Barnes.
Instantly. Yeah.
Let's see if he's there, though, because the thing that I'm reading is that the Cavs. The Cavs could be a team that loves Scotty Barnes. It could be like a Jalen Johnson or Scotty Barnes situation.
I've heard he's jumped
5.
Kuminga.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that if he's your number 4 guy or number 5 guy on the board, I still think Jalen Green, Suggs, and Mobley are kind of in their own middle ground there. But I think he could jump Kuminga on a lot of people's boards because that defense is something special. Being able to switch up and down an entire roster is insane.
And like at that point, it's like, let's say if Barnes is there, he's the pick then for the Hawks. If he's not there, then a question becomes, because I know who I'm targeting with the second pick, and I'm going to talk about someone in a second, but that first pick then becomes, do you go with a Jalen Johnson, kind of that 3-4 wing, or do you say, you know what, I like the defense from like a Keon Johnson, and I want to add that defense with this team? Because like
I visibly cringe.
I know.
Like taking Keon Johnson this high in the draft.
Keon's a guy where I had him going later. I think I had him to the Celtics. No, I had Jaden Springer to the Celtics. I'll have to look where I had Keon going. But, like, to me, it's like defense is what I'm adding in that wing. Like, the one guy I love at 14 for them is exactly who Tankathon has the Warriors going with. It's exactly the guy I think the Warriors should draft if they draft. I think it's a guy that I think a lot of teams are going to want in the middle of the draft, Franz Wagner. Because the one thing I like about Wagner is he's got the ability to shoot from outside. He's got the ability to play defense, and not just play defense against one thing. He could potentially, as he develops, play defense against 2s, 3s, and 4s at the next level, which you need that. You fucking need that. And if I'm the Hawks, I want that around Trae Young. Just fill in like we're going to add shooters and defense around Trae Young.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's exactly what their strategy's been. I don't have a big problem with that. I think that Franz probably will be gone on my board by 14, and I think that you could luck your way into like a Jared Butler there, who I think would be an incredible pairing for the same reasons. Shooting and defense, but another ball handler. That's the key thing. If you're losing out on getting, basically the best point guards in this draft between Cade and Jalen, then the next guy up on my board as far as ball handlers, go ahead and let's get ourselves fucking Butler. Like, let's do this. So, look, I think that if the Hawks allow themselves to make this deal happen, and again, it's not a guarantee, but I think it's something that you have to ask yourself, because a team like the Warriors is willing to go all in for a championship run. And if all signs point to Klay Thompson being 80% of the Klay Thompson who was before, there's no fucking reason to hold back on going for this, unless they're trying to build a Dynasty 2.0 with multiple more picks. I just don't buy that. So I think that this would be an awesome time to try to cash in on a sign-in trade, get yourself a situation here that gives you guys that match the timeline better. because I just don't think paying John Collins now worth your time. Don't
Yeah.
think so. But if they stay where they're at 20,
Exactly.
you and I both agreed Chris Duarte would be a good pickup. I will bring up again Jared Butler if he's there.
Yeah.
Great pickup. I think you have to look guard prio, and then you can say, okay, what could we do if all the guards we like are off the board? It could happen. I mean, there's a chance there could be a run on guards.
So,
although this year I feel like there's more that are falling than I like. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just a sucker. But you can't draft Cooper. You can't put Cooper and Trae Young on the same team.
No,
so there goes that one. I don't know if Jaden Springer is an ideal fit, but also I think that might be a situation where if he could grow underneath a Bogdan Bogdanovic, maybe that is his best situation.
Yeah.
But is he too similar to Kevin Huerter in that respect of that, like, is he a true ball handler? No, but can he do it? Yeah, kind of sometimes to an extent.
Like, for me, I'm on 3 different paths. Like, 3 different lanes are in front of me. The first one is I'm zeroing in on, like, if I'm keeping Collins, then this, like, if I'm trading Collins, then obviously this changes. But this is if I'm keeping Collins and staying where they're at. Lane 1 is Chris Dunn gone? If Chris Dunn's gone, I'm zeroing in on Jared Butler, possibly even trying to trade up for Jared Butler, because I feel Jared Butler is either going to be a guy. So I had him going 13 to the Pacers in my mock. I think he's someone that, and yet again with my mock, I was an idiot and completely forgot about Davion Mitchell. And like didn't realize it until it was too late. So maybe like he falls a little bit, but I still feel like Butler will be someone that a team tries to trade up for. He ain't going to fall that far. They're going to trade up for him. So do they go that way? Otherwise, it's what guard, like you said, is it a Duarte? Is it a Trey Mann? I'm just throwing him out here, even though I don't think he gets drafted here. Io would be a good fit. Can play in transition, can play defense, like can play off ball and on ball, even though the one concern I have about him is that when he didn't have the ball in his hands, seemed to be a little disinterested.
Lost?
Not lost, just like do you want to play with the ball out of your hands? Like, I'm just going to stand here and wait for the ball to come back to me. Or do they go with like, I don't think this guy falls. He's a top 15 in my mocks, but does a Kai Jones fall for some reason? And is he there at 20? Because if Kai Jones is there, that's very intriguing. But yet again, if I'm keeping Collins and then Yucca's there, am I going to draft another big, or am I going to zero in on a 2 or a 3 if Butler's out of the equation?
Yeah, it kind of makes me wonder, like, what point of the draft process are they in? Is this a team that's now switched to, we paid our free agents, we're now competing, we need polished products, we need to go for upperclassmen and sure things. We don't have time to waste first rounders on project players like Kai Jones. That's the first question you kind of have to decide for yourself, because there's always room. There's always guys who fall who you don't expect to be there, and I think that Kai at 20 would be interesting to see if he would fall. I've seen him everywhere. I've seen him in love with teams at 9, but then at the same time I've seen him at 26. So right now there's no real, like, nobody's locked in on him. But I do kind of like the idea of just, hey, let's go ahead and make sure we have either another ball handler or give me someone who has defensive upside. It's that one or the other's got to happen out there. Low key, Josh Christopher is someone who probably is a little bit later on most boards, but I think that he could fit in somewhere nicely. And I think we've only seen the beginning of what he can do. So I think that he might be a nice fit. Like, I don't like him. He's very close to Jaden Springer on my board. I think that's a question you could ask yourself. I'd be curious to know which side you are. Do you like Josh Christopher as potential upside player? Because he's kind of got like an all-around game, but I felt like because he played at Arizona State, he was a little limited in what he was able to do on the court.
He's a guy to me where I think he is a first rounder. When I did my mock, I had him go to the Rockets. Because I think that, to me, I think that's a good fit for him. Like, basically he could develop there kind of a thing. Like, hey, he's not a finished product, but hey, we're not a finished product either. Like, that's the thing with the Hawks. If, let's say, the other thing, you said, like, where's their direction right now? If they beat the Knicks, do they solidify themselves where all right, we got to win now. So I want a player, even if it's a player in the draft, who's going to help us win now. Kind of like how the Sixers, think about how the Sixers have worked, where it's like we're going to take a Thibault because Thibault's going to help us win now. We're going to take a Maxey because a Maxey is going to help us win now kind of a thing. Like, are they going to try to do their scouting to where, like, okay, what players are going to help us win now? Because that's where our mindset is. Not just getting Trey into the playoffs, now getting him successfully into the playoffs and having this team grow and adding young players that help us now rather than 2-3 years down the line.
I agree to that. I'm with you. I think that they go more solidified prospects, but I just don't know that. I don't know. I'm trying to think, like, outside of the guys I mentioned already, if there's anybody else that stands out in that first round grouping.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think that like most everybody else has kind of got their own slots in my mind. Couple of late risers we've seen is like Zaire Williams seems to have come back to life all of a sudden. He was somebody who was mocked 25 to 30 for a while.
Yeah.
Now he seems to be back in the teens. Don't love it. Just kind of a meh, you know. He was a top.
Say who you said again, because I
Zaire Williams.
I was gonna actually ask you about him because I did not have him in my first round. There was a comment that said, "How dare you?" Or like, "How do you not have Zaire Williams in your first round?" I think he's a project. Like, to me, to have a guy like that in your first round, you have to either really love him or really love him and want to wait for him, because like I feel like he is project written all over him. He is not finished. Could go high as like the teens. But
yeah, he's got a body to play in the NBA. Doesn't know how to play.
Yeah.
But, you know, his body's there, which gives you a leg up on a lot of guys who, you know, don't have that in their game. So, but I'm sorry, if I'm drafting a player off body in the late, you know, first round, it's not him. It's Greg Brown. Yeah. Greg Brown's a fucking physical monster.
Yeah.
I mean, this kid don't know how to play basketball. He has one gear, though, and it is downhill.
Yep.
Doesn't look to pass the ball. Never going to pass the ball.
Black hole
rebound.
offense.
Rebounding's hit or miss. Ball hits hands, he goes at hoop. It is the easiest thing every time I watch Texas. I started watching Texas for Kai Jones, and this kid caught my eye, and I was like,
yeah.
I mean, like, he's kind of like that man among, you know, boys kind of moment a couple times in his college career, those highlights, but like, he is not a finished product yet.
No.
But man, if I'm taking a raw athlete, it is hard to overlook him.
Yeah. And I mean, Soapy brings up a guy. I will mention his name because we didn't bring him up. I wouldn't mind Trey Murphy to the Hawks, but I just feel
Might be high at 20.
Exactly. There are guys like Duarte. I would take Duarte, Io. Like, there are guys I have above Murphy that will most likely be there at 20.
They do have a second round pick, though.
Who do you like at 48? Do they keep? Here's the thing: do they keep the pick or sell the pick though? Like,
I think this is a deep draft. I think I would keep a second in this round, or I would buy a second if I didn't have one. This group seems solid.
Or do we just really love this group?
Every year I do this, I'm telling you, they get better.
Yeah.
The quality of the drafts get better. The depth of the talent is better than ever. No, I think that they absolutely should keep 48. Assuming they do, it's kind of that chain reaction of, did you get your guard in the first round? Yeah. If no,
or do you just double up on it?
I mean, you could. If we're taking shots in the dark, you know, you could do that. Obviously, so let's assume we took a wing in the first round. Let's say either like Kai fell, or we, you know, ended up with like Franz fell. Someone in that kind of a style. I know. Maybe even a Giddey fell.
I know exactly who. Everyone. I was right on everyone except for Giddey. If you took any of the other names you said, I know exactly who I'm targeting in the second round. Don't care if I need to trade up for him. Rokas. That's what like that. Like I'm getting that. Like if Chris Dunn is gone in the second round, like watching his film, there is another guy I can tag in for a second ball handler if I need it. Like
I was
to
waiting for
add
the
on.
Deshaun Highland hype train again.
No, could be Highland could be good too, but like I just look at Rokas and I'd be like, depends on where he goes, how high in that second round. But even if I have to trade up or big board wise, if he's like 41, I'd trade up from 48 to 41 to go ahead and get him. Or is it like I'm going to go with one of those bigs? Are they a team at 48 where they go, hey, I know it's a project, but it's the second round. Do they go with a Kofi? Do they go with a other like
Don't
4
think
or
so.
5? Or do they just
if
double
Isaiah
down
Todd's on
on
the board,
3?
sure. Like give me a big wing, sure. Second round is where he takes shots. You know, he same thing. It's okay. Well, who's here? Who's left? Can we get a guy who could contribute at a high level? Maybe. Say we got rid of say we got rid of John Collins, but we still have this pick in the second round. Maybe I'd look at Jeremiah Robinson Earl. Maybe like, this kid could work out for us in the second round.
Some people love Earl as like a first round talent, but not going to go in the first round.
Right, because you can't fucking shoot threes. There's a reason you're this low on the board. You were a one-man wrecking ball there, but like you don't play the modern style. I'm trying to be nice. You don't play the modern style; it will hold you back.
You can teach to shoot, though. That's the thing. Like that's
you
what people need to remember.
can. You hopefully can. I mean, that's we were kind of hoping like Jan and Jark. Not quite there yet. Not getting mints in the playoffs. What does that tell you? Like that's the concern in my mind. Jeremiah Robinson Earl, again, not the youngest kid in this draft class, not super old like Janin was, but still, I do think that you were probably going to double down on guard or wing here. I don't expect them to go with a center, power forward only if it's a great faller. Like I can't. I'm trying to think of like who could fall. If I mentioned Todd because he's the one who I'm wildly off with. Everybody else thinks he's mid to late second. I think he's late 1 round talent. But outside of him, I'm trying to think of another big in the second round. Rocco. I don't think he's there. I think he's gone way before then. He's just got potential.
Also, they could look to a like okay, let's say they go with like a Duarte or a Butler. Or like, okay, we get this guy who's got the defensive side locked down. They could also look at guys like Joe Wieskamp is going to be interesting out of Iowa.
Wieskamp,
He can shoot. So he can shoot. Johnny Juzang, Austin Reeves.
I wouldn't mind Juzang.
Like these are all guys that it's like they can just like, okay, we got our defense. Let's just get a guy who can score the bucket, whether it's outside or inside.
I mean, if that's the case.
Isaiah Rivers. Gotta throw Soapy's boy out there.
I'm like, would you dare draft another undersized guard and Miles McBride? Like, I don't know if I would be comfortable with having both my guys, my back or both point guards on my team being like 6'6'1". No,
I wouldn't.
I respect McBride's game, but I probably would not take him if I was his team. Now,
Soapy asks about Grimy. How about Quentin Grimes?
Grimes is someone who I would be interested in. Yeah. He busted his ass off for a couple years in college to try to recoup, the expectations. And I think he's got a decent all-around game. Yeah. I wouldn't mind Grimes going here. Yeah, I like that. He's got a good pick and roll game. Solid ball handler, improved defense. The shot can be missing at times, but like you said, if you're going to have an offense with Gallo out there and Bogdan and all these wings who can shoot, Grimes wouldn't be a bad, and he's got good size too. I don't hate Grimes. Ooh, but I say that out loud, and then I instantly go back and I just
also look and you go, ooh, I like this better.
Well, I'm just saying, if we're just tossing darts at the board here, if you're giving me the option of Grimes, David Johnson, I'm probably gonna take David Johnson. Yeah, I like the younger player because they're younger, but also I think David Johnson is someone who we've seen Louisville backcourt guys. I can't ignore Louisville as a basketball school. I think that their prospects translate really well to the NBA. Yeah, I think I would go with David Johnson.
And even in Twitch chat, I know we're talking second round prospects. We did mention this earlier.
Mhm.
Justin in YouTube chat saying, Hawks fan here, kind of mentioned what we said before. He said, I want to trade up for a potential star in the draft since we're
Yes.
definitely one away. So maybe it's just that simple. That's the MO that where it's like
Well, is it the
we got to
question of,
draft up.
are they trading up
Mm-hmm.
for a star like in the draft,
Or are they
or could
trading
this
a
team
player
trade
on
for
their...
a guy who is a star?
Okay.
Like, is this a situation where you trade your pick and
Mm-hmm.
John Collins in a sign-in trade for like what?
For a
Oh,
Lowry Markkinen, Dave, I'll take 20 for Lowry.
yikes! If you pull John Collins out of that deal,
No, I'm
you
not
have
saying they can keep John. I'm just saying I'm not saying John comes to the Bulls. I'm not that delusional.
okay. I'm trying to think. I'm like, if you're trying to hit a star, obviously we talked. You have to get in that top 7 pretty much
Yeah.
to get a guy who we believe has that star potential. There's other guys who probably will be. That's just the way the draft works.
Yeah.
But usually that guarantee. I'm trying to think of the NBA guys who could be on the move, who have an it potential or an it factor to them. I mean, hot seat guys, Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball
I
are
was gonna
both
say
out there.
Lonzo.
Lonzo Ball pairing with Trae Young would be hilarious. I would love it. I give me more.
Would that
But
be a
the
would
Bulls?
that be a meme team, but in a good way?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But the Bulls are going to offer top dollar. The Knicks are going to offer top dollar for him. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Other stars who could be on the move. I don't know. I haven't heard. Buddy Hield might be on the move, but he doesn't really fit this team.
So I got a package. I did like brains of a package in my head.
Okay.
If it's the Bulls, could there be a deal in place where it's because we don't have a pick, we'd be looking to get a pick of like, if they're looking to add veterans, hey, you know what? If they're, let's say, looking for a secondary ball handler, they want someone to give some defense for them, like a package that revolves around us sending them like a Kobe White and a Thad Young, or a Kobe White and a Troy Brown Jr. That we got from the Wizards of because to me with the Bulls, it's Zach is untouchable. I don't think anyone's untouchable, but Zach and Vuce are probably the ones we're not shopping. But
right,
if Dunn's gone, Kobe can be a good secondary ball handler off the bench. He's proven that. Scorer off the bench, too. And Thad Young has proven veteran, not just veteran leadership, which this team could use.
He's a great locker room guy, but he's also highly effective still. He does everything.
Yeah, exactly.
He scores, he rebounds, he assists, he facilitates, he does everything out there. Yeah, it's tough to say that wouldn't be beneficial to both teams. I think that Kobe White's got that star upside from a scoring perspective. And I think that, that is a great veteran to have on a team. Great ad. What the value is overall of that, it's so hard to predict because of Kobe White being so temperamental. Like, he is extremely good and then extremely bad. He has gotten much better. His assist to turnover ratio has gotten better and all that stuff, but I'm not 100% locked in on his value to other teams.
Yeah.
But looking around the league, trying to find another guy who is a surefire, could be up for trade, is very tough. It's very tough to find a high level guy who would want out of a team and they would agree that he needs to go. John Wall is a guy who's under a terrible contract, so I don't think anybody wants him. I don't know of anybody else that we joked about Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
I mean,
to the
Atlanta
Hawks.
got them lemon pepper wings. I don't know if that's enough to pull him in.
If
that's enough,
that'd be great. Oh man, Trae Young, Kawhi Leonard, John Collins, let's go.
Oh, John Collins would be toast.
He'd be going to the Clippers.
He would be a Clipper.
He would be a Clipper. But any final thoughts before we wrap up this one, Dave?
No, I mean, I feel like this is a good situation. Ooh, do you think the Knicks regret trading? Sorry, I saw that.
I was gonna
Tim Hardaway Jr.
I'm gonna say no because the team is good right now. And yet again, the weird thing about these is if you kept Tim Hardaway Jr., would you have not made other moves that basically have players on the team right now? I'm gonna say no. Like he's popping off in the playoffs, but like overall,
Yeah, I mean he
Mm-hmm.
but you got rid of KP, which was your ultimate goal.
Yeah.
You did get in return Dennis Smith Jr. Unfortunately, but you got draft picks, and you're gonna enjoy those picks in the 20s for the next couple of years.
And Soapy does bring up CJ McCollum, may be on the market if they blow up the team.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know who wants him.
I think he's bringing it up with Atlanta.
Yeah,
what Atlanta?
I don't know who wants him.
Don't know who wants him. Maybe Portland.
That one's a mystery. That'll just stay a mystery, I guess.
It could be a boat. You know how much we want a boat.
If I was Atlanta, who would you rather have? Would you sign DeMar DeRozan outright in free agency, or do a trade to get CJ McCollum?
I'd take CJ over DeMar.
I would take DeMar 10 out of 10 times.
Okay, then yeah, we're on different sides.
Do not like CJ McCollum. I think that he is a liability, and he is consistently inconsistent.
Consistently inconsistent.
His size is an issue, and again, if you're pairing CJ and Trey together, what do you expect to happen when you go up against legitimate point guards? That's why I think, like, again, this is just a rough time for them to figure out, like, ultimate backcourt pairing. Sure, we could say Lonzo Ball. I think that's the answer. Find yourself another Lonzo Ball. They don't grow on trees, though.
Soapy brings up a great point. No, I don't regret the THJ thing because they turned DSJ into Derrick Rose. Boom. You don't trade Tim Hardaway Jr., you don't get Derrick Rose.
Derrick Rose could have been traded to them for anyone. Literally anyone on the roster. It didn't matter. He was going to Tom Thibodeau.
DSJ, you don't get trade doesn't happen. You don't get Derrick Rose. Tom Thibodeau. He was getting Derrick Rose no matter what. But that is going to do it for MVP Sports Live today. Remember, join the Discord if you're not in it already. Link down below in the description. It is truly the greatest community in the universe where we're talking sports each and every day. If you want to support us, patreon.com/MVPvids. Again, that link is right down there in the description, or if you're watching us live, can click right below the video. Thank you to our Patreon sponsor, Pat Hill. We're live on YouTube every Monday through Friday around 6 p.m. Central Time. Sometimes we're a little bit later, but that's usually the time we are live right after we do games live with our other channel, MVP Entertainment. Make sure to subscribe to both of our channels to stay all in tune with what's going on with MVP. Tomorrow,
Heat. Decidedly a waste of time.
What's the score?
44-25.
Okay. Waste of time. Bucks.
They're down by 20, and it is not the end of the first half.
Right. So the East is a waste of time besides Hawks and Knicks, basically. Because we know Nets and Celtics are a waste
First
of time.
round, yes.
Yeah.
Second
Next
round,
we'll
Bucks,
see. We'll see
Bucks Nets.
That's going to be
that
interesting.
will be a series to watch.
That will be a great series. But tomorrow, Dave, you and I are done for the week. We're not on tomorrow. It's okay, I will say this. I may be done for the week. We got to see if Soapy and Jake both show up tomorrow.
That's true. Never happened.
They might be the same person and can't be.
We haven't proven it
on the same one at the same time, but should be Jake and Soapy tomorrow talking about NBA playoffs, all that good stuff. They are talking about a draft too, so it's going to be playoff and draft. I'm going to look up really quick what draft they are talking about because I forget.
Hornets.
It is the Hornets.
Jake's going to have a lot of fun.
That's right, because I told Jake, I'm like, I at least want to put you on that one because Jake loves the Hornets so much and loves talking about them, and I really wanted to do a Jake and Soapy show this week to make up for last week. But that's going to do it for us. Thank you guys for being as great as you always are. We'll be back tomorrow with more sports news, and as always, have a good day, everybody.
WPN.